Is there an intro? Is there an intro? We're live.
Hello, 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 and welcome
Is
back
there
to
an
another
intro? Is there
episode
an intro?
of the Lions Den podcast. We are here
Hello,
talking
hello.
about everything Club Leon in English. As we know, Liga MX returns this weekend. We're very excited. Liga MX is back after international break, which it's good and bad at the same time. So obviously we're eager to see Leon back on the field. Obviously how things ended last jornada. We are currently in second place, but obviously, we'll get more to talk about what's going on with Club Leon and Liga MX as it relates to this weekend and furthermore. But let's talk about something that's been in the news that we're very confused, emotional. I mean, there's a lot of emotions there for all of us, but about Club Leon getting kicked out of the Club World Cup. And I guess, guys, just initially, how do we feel? And Louis, talk to us a little bit more about what's been going on with the Club Leon getting kicked out.
Uh, yeah. Well, I don't think there's any point in mincing words. If this decision stands, which there's obviously still I think at least in our camp, there's some hope, some legitimate hope that the decision will ultimately be overturned and this will all be just a blip in the radar, a happy memory. But if this decision by FIFA stands, I don't think there's any other way to put it. This is a dark moment, one of the darkest moments in the history of our club, right up there with any of the descensos, losing finals, anything that's unmentionable. We have certain topics that are off limits, that are unmentionable in this podcast that we just do not talk about, and this is right up there with those. This might be the worst one of all. For 2 years, we've been thinking that we are going to be part of the first ever 32-team Club World Cup, the first time that this tournament is a real big deal to FIFA. FIFA's trying to make it very obviously a big deal. They've replaced what used to be the Confederations Cup. They've replaced that with the Club World Cup. Supposedly, this 32-team Club World Cup is going to be played the year before World Cup, and it's a big deal. And Leon was going to be part of it. We have spent the last 2 years, almost 2 years. It's not quite the anniversary of our Conca Champions victory, but we've spent the last 2 years thinking we're going to be part of that. A lot of what we've been doing leading up to that at this point in the past 2 years, a lot of what our mentality surrounding the team has been these past 2 years depended on our team playing in this 32-team Club World Cup. And so if it doesn't happen, that is disastrous. And no matter what good this Directiva has done for Club Leon in the meantime, I just don't think the fans or anyone else is going to be able to get past that. I think, a lot is riding on this decision that we now know will fall on April 23rd in the hands of the Court of Arbitration of Sport, or as it's known in acronymology. I don't even know if that's a word. It's known as its acronym TAS, Tribunal de Arbitraje de Sport in French. The highest court of appeals, the highest jurisdiction that exists in sports in the world. We are awaiting for our appeal to be heard, the appeal of this FIFA decision. We are waiting for that to be heard on April 23rd. It's going to be a nervy few weeks up until that point, to say the least, because so much about not just this Club World Cup, because this Club World Cup is going to be played. We're probably not going to win it. Even if we're in it, then it's going to be over. But it goes way, way, way beyond that. The fact that we can be removed from something that we earned, that Club Leon earned the right to participate in on the pitch. They won the necessary tournament within the allotted time span that was the requirement to participate in this tournament. They met the requirements on the soccer pitch, on the football field. They did what was required to get into that tournament. And for someone to just sobre la mesa tell us that we can't be a part of it anymore, that is disastrous. There is no two ways about it. If this decision is not turned around, this will be as dark a moment in the history of Club Leon as anything else that has ever happened in the history of the club. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that, given everything that it means to so many people, especially to the institution. The fact that James is here, that was contingent on us playing a Club World Cup. There's a lot that goes along with that too that we can get into. But just in the most basic of terms, if this decision is not turned around, this is a dark moment for the club. And, I want to say I have faith. I think those of us here in the community have faith that, we've got a good legal team. And Carlos, I know you have a lot to say about the valid arguments that we have that could be used in our favor in the appeal hearing at TAS in Madrid in actually a little over 3 weeks. Obviously, we'll get into that too. But just in the most basic of terms, if this decision is not turned around, this is, it's a dark moment, as dark as any moment there's ever been in the history of the club, and there's just no two ways about it. So that's basically my feeling about it. It's really been hard to think about anything else, honestly, while this has been going around in the past week. We haven't had a chance to podcast about it and vent about it and share our feelings about it. We haven't had that opportunity. This is the first time since this news came down. I think ever since there was first a formal complaint about our participation in it, however many months ago that was. I don't even remember now, but I think there was this little thought in the back of our mind, well, please just let everything go off without a hitch. Please let everything go as planned and let this not affect. But I think in the back of our minds, it was like, this is going to be some BS, isn't it? There's going to be some stuff that goes on with this that we're going to have to deal with and get past. And I don't think any of us ever really thought that it would cost us our position in the Club World Cup, and it still might not. But I mean, it certainly put us on notice. It's certainly alarming, and it certainly robbed every element of Club Leon news, everything surrounding the club ever since the news dropped. That's all that anyone can talk about. Yes, we're still second place in the league. Yes, we are still a contender for the league title. We could be back in first place depending on what happens this weekend, especially considering our two closest rivals in the table are playing each other. We could end up back in first place by the time this weekend is over, but nobody cares about that right now. Nobody can think about that right now. All we can think about is this stupid ruling by FIFA that what we won fair and square on the pitch, that Alajuelense did not win fair and square on the pitch, that America did not win fair and square on the pitch, that no other team in that span in the CONCACAF region won fair and square on the pitch, except for Club Leon. They want to take us out of it, and that's all that anyone can talk about with good reason. There are other things to discuss surrounding this team, but that is the predominating, most important topic on the table right now, and it's awful. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible thing that we should even be having to entertain this discussion. It's sickening, honestly. And in TAS we trust. I can't even remember the names of the dudes on the law firm. Sen Ferrero. In Sen Ferrero and in El TAS we trust. And I don't believe that, in spite of this decision, they want to kick us out, but in the Court of Appeals and the TAS, which theoretically is impartial, immune to all the Mexican conspiracy theories and other voices in FIFA's heads that are they're convincing them not to have us in this tournament. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories I don't want to get into personally, but they're out there. But El TAS should not take any of that into consideration. If TAS determines that we are still the most deserving team of that spot in the Club World Cup, we will have that spot in the World Cup. So I have faith in their judgment, and I have faith in Sen Ferrero to get this over the line. And we'll look back on this and laugh, and we'll be able to make fun of Alajuelense until our throats are sore. That is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think our biggest help is going to be the fact that we actually won it on the field. Like, you can't take that away. That's not against the rules. There's no rule that says if you win it on the field, there's still a possibility that you can't. No, the rule is you can't have multiple teams per owner, and it was set after we won. It was after the fact. So those are our two biggest like helpers in this case. Um, and just like just like Louis said, I feel confident that we're gonna beat this. And it's just it came as a shocker. I mean, I woke up that morning to the news, and everyone on Twitter and everyone in our Leon chat was like going crazy, like what's going on? Like we kicked out. Um, but yeah, I mean, I hope that Das can see this through and make the correct decision, make not only the correct decision but the just decision. Um, because Alajuelense, America, like none of these teams earned it. There might be interests behind them, business interests, corporate interests, whatever you want to call them, that are pushing to get them into the tournament. But at the end of the day, I think if this thing really is about the sport and it really is about preserving, justice, then it has to be done. Leon has to be in the tournament. They've already used our players for advertisement. They've used our logos. They've used James. They've used este, some a bunch of our players on posters everywhere, videos even. So like, what happens now?
They've
You're
sold
just gonna
tickets to our matches with our
they,
name on the event. I
you
mean, come
have tickets
on.
right now, don't you?
Yeah, I have
Um,
tickets to the matches.
so I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna like take all that stuff down and just erase it,
It's too
and
late. They can't.
it's
They can't.
it's way too late. It's way too late. And I mean, really, the only thing that you can do here is just say, okay, you guys won it fair and square. The ruling, I'm sorry, not the ruling. The rules were added after the fact. They weren't added before. And to be honest, if they want to talk about multipropiedad in Mexico, like that's the least of our concerns, because there's way worse happening in Mexico that they should be talking about and that they should be bringing, to light. One of those being, I think, ascenso and descenso. There is no relegation. That's probably even worse than multipropiedad, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, I just hope that the ruling comes out in our favor and that we can get back on track and be okay. I have heard some rumors from some of our fans that we kind of already knew this in advance, weeks in advance, maybe at least 2 or 3 weeks, and that's why the team has been playing. We're on this bad streak right now.
Mhm.
So that's something I heard in a chat. I don't know. Maybe we can discuss that.
Um,
Gabby,
I'm
what do you
not
think?
surprised. No, I think I've been really pissed about it, and then obviously talking to my uncles who go for Leon. I mean, we're all on the same page of like, I mean, in our chat when I first saw it, was like, of course it's gonna happen to Leon. Of course, why not? Everything bad happens to us. Everything like siempre nos quieren echar, todas nosotros. So I was just very infuriated. I think it's ridiculous. I think FIFA is a joke. I think they're an absolute joke. I think they're just making stuff up as it goes. And if this was such a big problem, they should have addressed it in the beginning. Not done the draw, sold the tickets, did all this marketing and all this campaign and all this media stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now you're saying, oh no, they're disqualified. Like, you look pathetic as FIFA. You look ridiculous. You look unreliable. You look at the conviene, look at the conviene. Why? Because you gifted Inter Miami a spot of a stupid, like, one-off game that they had, and Baldy showed up out of nowhere, was like, oh, you guys are invited to the Club World Cup. Like, it's such a ridiculous thing, like, that we went through the whole tournament and won it. We freaking won it, and now it's like, oh, it's being taken away, but you gift Messi and his whatever, team a spot just because it's Messi. Like, it's like it's a disrespect for the team, because nosotros nos vamos preparando. And we're like, you know what? ¿Con quién vamos a reforzar? We bring in James. Obviously, to their attention is, oh, okay, they're going to have James. Great. So it's like, oh, well, Inter Miami has Messi. Okay, well, we have James, right? But that's beyond the fact, because Leon won it, a long time ago. So I'm just pissed that they're making stuff up as it goes. They look like a joke. And it's just pathetic. It really is pathetic. And then Alajuelense is a whole nother thing. I'm just like, who are you? Like, what do you guys think
Oh, they're
they're just handing out like freebies? Like, you're not, unless you have Messi, maybe they'll consider you guys. But like, who are you? Like, it's ridiculous.
they're
Like, you
nobody.
can't
They're
you can't
nobody. But I have
compare
my
them
thoughts.
to us. Yeah,
I have my
it's
thoughts. I have my thoughts
ridiculous.
on them. I have my thoughts on them specifically, which I think we should get into at some point because technically, well, I've heard that we're
Wait, on
essentially
who?
going up directly against them in TAS. Like
Yeah,
they're going to bring their legal team too, and whoever comes out of that ruling as having the more convincing argument is going to get the spot. That's the fact that
Oh,
Alajuelense is even sniffing a spot in the Club World Cup to me is just so ludicrous, so absurd. But it's a I guess apparently a real possibility. I mean, but I have my thoughts on them specifically. But just before we leave the FIFA topic, just they're apparently, I mean, like you said, they're looking like a joke, and they're apparently so concerned with their credibility, and this just absolutely tanks any last semblance, any last vestige of credibility they might have had by
literally.
making this decision. It just completely tanks it for an organization that's so apparently concerned with their image and their credibility and everything. And like, what are you? You know, I hate to I hate to sound like Taylor Twellman here, but what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, like that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that clip because you're not U.S. fans, but
No.
like, yeah, when we failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup, but we lost to Trinidad, he was like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" And that is like what I've thought like this through this whole process. What are we doing? What are we doing? What even is this?
Literally.
What even is this? You you're tanking every last vestige of credibility you might have had by making this decision to take away something from somebody who met all of your requirements on the pitch to qualify for this tournament. Like you say, Carlos, I do think that will ultimately end up being the big argument, the major argument that probably will end up saving us, if anything saves us. Because if you take that away, if you tell, that is the most, we're talking about the International Court of Sport. They are thinking about what is best for sport in
yeah.
general. And if you tell a team that won the required tournament that you were required to win to get into this other tournament, that is the most important thing. If you then tell that team, regardless of any other extraneous surrounding details in the situation, if you tell that team who won their right to play in this tournament fair and square that they can't be in it, that is the most damaging thing you can possibly do to sport in general. And I think that the International Court of Arbitration for Sport, the TAS, will consider that more than anything else. I think they will consider that. They have to. They have to consider that more than anything. And I think if anything saves us, that's what it will ultimately be. But what clowns? I mean, they are this organization, this FIFA, that is so concerned with not looking like clowns. And what do? The one thing that makes them look more clownish than anything else they could possibly do. Come on.
So here's what I think. Here's what I think FIFA did. This is what I wanted to tell you guys yesterday in the chat on WhatsApp, but I didn't because I said I was going to save it for the pod. So I think
We've
FIFA.
been anxiously waiting since then, Carlos. Lay it on us. Lay it on us.
Okay, so I think FIFA is, because they're getting so much pressure from all of these external, entities, asking them to please enforce the rules. It's in your rule book. Please enforce the rules. I think FIFA realized, okay, you know what? I'm going to enforce the rules. Blue Leon, you can go to TAS. You have a very strong case against us, but I don't want to look bad to the international soccer community because I'm not enforcing the rules. Like, they're enforcing the rules because they're trying to look good, enforcing their own rules. It's their own rule book. And so now Club Leon, they're pretty much saying, hey, you guys have a really strong case. You're going to get in. No worries, but we have to enforce the rules. What do you guys think?
I have
I
heard.
can
I've been
see
talking
it
with some
that
people.
way.
I've been talking with some people who pretty much told me that exact same thing, and I'm inclined to buy that. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if I don't know, but I'm inclined to buy that. That seems as logical as most any theories that the average person like us who are just talking heads could come up with. I think
Yeah.
there is a true possibility that is the driving force behind FIFA's actions. I do think that's possible.
I
Yeah.
still
They
think
just want to
it's
wash their
pathetic
hands.
because
It's pathetic. It's
yeah,
pathetic, but I can understand them wanting to wash their hands of the situation. They don't want to be the ones who make the final decision, because then, if you
but
can criticize the TAS all you want, but this is the Supreme Court of sports. Once they've made their decision, there's nothing more to be done. So then FIFA washes their hands of the situation. It's not their fault anymore. They did what Alajuelense asked them to do, and then if TAS doesn't care if Alajuelense le tira, because TAS is like, they make rulings. That's what they do. So they're used to like people being in disagreement with them, and they don't care. They're in the business of people disagreeing with them, so they don't care. But FIFA is so concerned about their image that I can totally see it. I can see it, and I
yeah.
hope you're right, because that would mean that TAS is going to rule in favor of the one that has the strongest argument, which I do believe is Club Leon.
I just think I definitely can see that happening, and I think the patheticness that it's like you could avoid this whole situation, right? And second of all, you're not taking consideration how mental it is for not just the fans, but for the players itself. Que se imaginan, in el verano in a Club World Cup, and then this, like black cloud over them until April 23rd to see what's next. And to the fans like Louis who bought tickets, who bought trips, like it's such a disrespectful thing to do. And then the clownish thing come in is okay, you take off Leon off the, online in the groups, and then you put them back on. So I'm like, so what, like, it's just confusing. Like it's so confusing, and it's so disrespectful to the players, to the fans, to the club. It's ridiculous. And luego the argument of like, at the beginning we're like, oh, either Pachuca or Leon. I'm like, no, pues nos van a fregar a nosotros. Just for the mental aspect. I'm like, it's always Club Leon. It's like, well, we won before Club Pachuca did. So should if they had to choose one, wouldn't it just be us? But obviously, there's the bigger
Yeah, well, that's
aspect,
the other
right?
thing. No,
Yeah.
but there are those saying that, okay, so if de plano either Leon or Pachuca can't go, if one of those can't go, then by rule it should be Leon because we qualified first, and like according to a certain set of rules that somebody found, like that's the criteria. So like, I mean, it just goes on. It goes so deep. There's so many levels to all this.
Yeah.
Like,
So would you guys
but
be
I mean,
surprised would you guys be surprised if the decision came down to El Grupo, right, the owners, and they
I would not be
decided that it
surprised.
would be Pachuca?
I would not. I'm not surprised if we figure out at some point that it went down. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I would have just like Dad Martinez would be like, Pachuca's going. Period. Like I could totally see that happening. So
Yeah.
let's play for it. A home and home in 180 minutes. 180 minutes home and home, and the winner goes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually a really good. Wow, that would be awesome if we really could play for it. That would be awesome.
Either 180 minutes home and home or 90 minutes at a neutral site, whatever you like. But let's play for it. Let's play for it. Or hey, we could just go based on the most recent result between the two teams, which was that. Oh yeah, Leon a 2-1 win.
True.
Or you can just have both go because they both won fair
because they
and square
both
on
earned
the
their
pitch.
position in the stupid tournament. Yes.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, obviously they questioned the new FMF president, Mikel Arriola, about, Club Leon and all that. And I think in conclusion, he said, voy a defender los tres, the three spots that, pertain to Mexico. And I'm like, why don't you say, like, you support Leon and then you'll see what happens after that? Like, I want that direct, like, because we won it. Because everybody's like, oh, well, Club America. I'm like, oh, like, when isn't there a time when we cannot hear about Club America? Like, it's just like, if it comes down to it, like, whatever. But ahorita, the main thing is we won. We deserve it. Like, let's just focus on that and let's fight for that because it's fair. Not already thinking like, oh, who else can go? Like, no.
Yeah.
Well, it's just so infuriating whether it's America, whether it's Tigres, whether it's Alajuelense, whenever any of these teams come out and try to give their reasoning as to why they deserve to be in, and I'm like, the path into the Club World Cup for CONCACAF teams for this particular Club World Cup, for the 2025 Club World Cup, was very, very simple. Either you win the CONCACAF Champions League between 2021 and 2024. That's 4 editions. That's Monterrey, Seattle Sounders, Club Leon, and Pachuca. Those 4 winners, or you're Inter Miami with Messi and you're labeled as the host nation. That is the way in for CONCACAF teams. There is no other way in. Club America won the CONCACAF Champions League probably not too long before that. I don't remember the last year they won it, but they didn't win it within the window. Alajuelense has not won a CONCACAF Champions League since 2004. And frankly, just the way that football is these days, they're never going to win one ever again. Let's be real. They're never going to win, and they're never going to win a CONCACAF Champions ever again. And they've been in 4 out of the last 5 editions, and they haven't won a single game. Actually, no, they won 1 game in 1 edition, but they haven't advanced out of a single round. This, what criteria could you possibly present that gives you any sort of argument to be in the CONCACAF? No, not the CONCACAF, in the Club World Cup. What criteria could you possibly present? You have 0, less than 0, none.
I mean, if they had Ronaldo, I would be like, of course, come in. But they don't. They don't have anything. Like Louis said, they don't. Yeah,
Ronaldo.
Es que están...
Just the thought of. I'm sorry. Just I need a second. The thought of Ronaldo playing for Alajuelense is just extremely funny. Sorry.
You know who might be making a push for him is Monterrey.
Nah, están ilusionados.
No sé. But they say
Stop,
that
because that's my favorite player. He cannot go over there.
They say they say that Ramos' celebration of picking up the phone was to him because he responded to it.
He did respond.
Yeah, but he's not gonna, Carlos. He's not gonna play for Monterrey.
Okay, let's say you could sign him to a summer deal to play the Club World Cup.
I mean, I guess it's not the most. It's not. I guess it's not the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard, but I don't know.
That would be amazing.
If anybody could afford it, it's them.
For a short-term deal, I suppose.
Just do it for free at this point.
Think so? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be a loan. I mean, I think any of these, they've talked about these adding players on short-term deals for the Club World Cup. Those would be loans, I would imagine. So, I mean, he could be loaned. He could be loaned from Al Nassr. Sure.
Yeah.
And Al Nassr would still own his card. I mean, they wouldn't be paying the transfer fee; they'd just be paying his wages for the term of the Club World Cup. So, I mean, I guess it's not the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard, but I don't think so.
What's the MDC?
Mundial de Clubes.
Mundial de Clubes. Sorry.
Yeah, he's speaking that Spanglish. Who is MDC? I mean, who is MA? I don't think we've seen them before.
I don't think so, but I like the picture.
Yeah,
little doggy,
I like that picture
chihuahua.
too.
Welcome.
It's not a Pomeranian, which are my favorites, but I'll accept it.
How bad is FIFA looking by welcoming teams playing a tournament knowing they're not supposed to participate?
Period. That's my biggest anger. As soon as I'm oh, so we're just gifting, here Messi. There's no issue there. Nobody says anything.
Well, that's the big thing. I mean, if there was going to be an issue with Leon and or Pachuca being in this tournament, that's something they needed to nip in the bud our participation as soon as we won the CONCACAF Champions. Honestly, if it was going to be an issue, they had to do it then, 2 years ago, not now. It's way too late. We're way too far along in the process, like we said before. It's just way too late. And, the specific ruling that is keeping us out of it now, supposedly, that, as we discussed, that fell afterward. So, I mean, yes, for the next edition, they can enforce it however much they want. But for this one, we have to be grandfathered in. We just have to be.
Yeah. Now, the thing about Messi is that the host nation gets to invite one team, right? They get to invite one team. And so, obviously, the U.S. being the host nation, who else would they invite but Messi and friends?
Exactly, because his team is not great. They're not that great. Let's be honest.
Messi generates a lot of.
Carlos, they're not going to invite Sporting Kansas City.
That's what I was saying. Alajuelense. If Alajuelense had a star player and they're oh, we deserve to be, okay, I get it. But no tienen a nadie. What are you talking about?
Well, I will say one thing about them before I hopefully have my chance to go on my rant about them. But I already kind of did. But they do have one Club World Cup winning player on their roster. The only Joel Campbell. Joel Campbell.
Joy
The
Campbell.
one, the only Joel Campbell who played
That's
in that
right.
final against LAFC and helped us win the Conca Champions.
That's
You know what
He's
would
right.
the
be
only
funny
one.
if we have him on a loan for the Club World Cup?
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. But he's the one person involved in that entire Alajuelense organization whose guts I do not hate.
Agree. I
Yeah.
second that.
Yeah. No, he left.
Yeah.
He left the
Because-
champion. He left the title with the
because-
club, so he's.
Let me just say something about Alajuelense that I didn't already say. No matter what happens with this task resolution, no matter what happens with this, even if we end up winning the appeal and going to the Club World Cup, they being Alajuelense, screwed with the one thing I hold dear in life. Friends and family, they come and go. Club Leon is forever. That is the one thing that I care about more than anything else in this world, and Alajuelense screwed with it. So no matter what happens going forward, even if we win our case against them, I will never not hate them. Whenever I hear the name, see the name Alajuelense, it will be met with the deepest, most painful hate, spite that you can possibly imagine having for any sort of sporting organization.
Same.
I will never be able to. It's this the most anger, most spite, most hate that you can possibly imagine when I think of that team. They messed with
Same.
us. They messed with
Same.
us.
They did.
They've just been
And
a
I think-
tick
Yeah.
all season. They've been a tick that we just can't get rid of.
Yeah. And I think right now when Louis was saying about I'm just thinking if Javi, was here, he would be so pissed.
Oh, man.
He would go on these long rants and tell us about their history and how unfair. I can just imagine. I'd be like, you know what, Javi, you can cuss in this episode if you want. I'll allow it.
Yeah,
have to
I'm
make
trying
like a-
very hard not to. I'm trying very hard to choose my words carefully and still not cuss because this remains a family show. But
We have to integrate some kind of bleep button.
Oh,
Yeah.
That'd be
We
awesome.
but then we'd have to go back and edit it. Yeah.
That's true. Shout out to Todd. You guys remember Todd?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still
Hey,
in
Todd.
touch with Todd. And yes, Ola from the Mariner. It is opening day in baseball today, and the Mariners are on in about 20 minutes. And you know what, Todd? Some of the worst thing is I can't enjoy opening day like I should because stupid FIFA and stupid Alajuelense quieren que Club León no esté in the Club World Cup, and I can't enjoy things. Not just that, I can't enjoy anything the way I'm supposed to because we have this stupid situation hovering over our heads that shouldn't even be an issue, and yet it is the issue. It is the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because
Yeah.
I think stupid is just a great word that you're substituting for everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's worst case scenario here? What's the worst case scenario?
Oh, I mean, worst case scenario is
That we
Taz does
remain
not.
kicked out and
Yeah.
Alajuelense
And then
gets
what?
in. That's the worst case scenario.
But what then? How do you revive a team? How do you reignite the flame to make sure that we don't at least lose
Well,
the title?
I'll say one. I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing. So James Rodriguez had a longer FIFA break than other of our. Not other of our seleccionados. No, but our players who traveled to the U.S. to play those friendlies against which we didn't even. I don't think those are even worth mentioning. But the friendlies that they played in the U.S., those players came back earlier and started training a few days ago. James just arrived today to training, but there were people who were saying oh, well, his whole existence with the club depended on the Club World Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if he negotiated his way out and he didn't even come back to León. But you know what? James Rodriguez showed up to León today. He showed up with an autographed jersey for Ronaldo. They took pictures of it. Everybody looked very, very happy. He trained like normal, like any other Club León player, and he came back to the team that he signed to, and he's not going to let these dudes down. He's going to come back and play, and there's still a league season to play, and he knows that. And, I'll say that for this team, I don't see – yeah, they've had a couple of lulls. They had a couple of bad weeks. They lost a couple of matches that they could have and should have won. But this is not going to destroy their vibe. I think if everything from what I saw from the pictures from training today and everything they posted and all that kind of stuff, okay, no matter what happens, this team is still willing and ready to fight for the league season. So that's the silver lining to me. There's still a league season to play, and we're still in a very, very good position to fight for it. I mean, anything can happen in Liguilla. We might not win, even if we finish as Superlíderes, the Superlíderes often don't win. If we finish in a high position, no matter, we might not get it, but they're going to be ready to fight for it. And I expect a dialed in, strong Leon squad against Pumas on Sunday. I think they're going to go out there and maybe get their most convincing win of the season. I mean, we haven't even talked about that match because it's not the most important thing right now. But when Sunday comes and we're in the stadium again, or when I'm in the stadium again, when you guys are watching the game, the most important thing in that moment is going to be beating Pumas. The most important thing in that moment is getting the 3 points and clinching our direct qualification to Liguilla. None of this play-in stuff. I mean, we're in a position we need with like 3 or 4 more points. We've got, at least top 6 assured. And, with 7 or 8 or 9 more points, the top 4 spot is probably assured. That's slowly but surely. Obviously, April 23rd is a big date, but slowly but surely, as we get these league matches in again, that's going to be the most important thing again. We're going to realize that no matter what happens, we still have a league season to fight for. The other teams contending for the title, some of them will, but other than Monterrey and Pachuca, they're not thinking about a Club World Cup. All they have is a league season, and that, no matter what happens, we're going to remember that we've got a league season to fight for. And I think that's kind of a silver lining for me, because I saw the guys, they're locked in. All the guys are back and they're ready to fight for that still, no matter what happens on April 23rd. Obviously, worst case scenario is we don't go to the Club World Cup. Thankfully, I haven't bought flights or hotels or rental cars yet. All I have are the tickets for the stadium. And so, worst case scenario, there's no Club World Cup, but, there's still a league season to play. And I think, slowly we're going to remember that there's still about a third of the season left to go. We can still get a ton more points. We can still, shore up our title contender status in the league. And, a Sunday, 7 p.m., I'm going to be in the stadium. I'm not going to be thinking about the Club World Cup. I'm going to be thinking about beating Pumas. We got to beat Pumas. We got to get those points. No matter what happens, the team is not going away. Any match they are in, FIFA doesn't want us to be in 3 matches, but there's still 5 or 6 more matches here in Liga MX that we are going to be in, that we have to win, and that's got to be the focus. So, I have faith. I know you do too, Carlos. I know you do too, Cari, on some level.
Yes.
We have faith. We have faith that this is going to go in our favor. But even if it doesn't, there's Club Leon is stronger than any FIFA ruling. It's stronger than anything. It's stronger than any directiva. I mean, even if this costs, as I was saying at the beginning, I don't know if if Chucho Martinez will be able to survive not being in the Club World Cup if the ruling doesn't go in his favor. I don't know if he'll be able to survive that. But the franchise, the organization, the institution, the club is stronger than any president, stronger than any player, stronger than any FIFA ruling, stronger than anything. This club has been through so much, and it's still there. It's still, maybe not a mediático, but it's still, in terms of its history and titles and all that, it's a grande. And that will not stop. That will continue. So worst case scenario or whatever, Club Leon will go on, and we've still got a league that is very much winnable, that we're still in position to fight for, and that will, no matter what, become the focus, and that will be what keeps us going forward. That will be what drives us. So let's beat Pumas handily. Let's beat them 3-0 on Sunday and be like, look at that, FIFA. We're still here.
Whatever happens,
we could finish.
We'll be here that week. We'll be here that week of April 23rd to discuss it. And I hope it's good news, because I want this to be a good pod. Otherwise, I know it's going to be a very bad pod. Like, we're all going to be venting, and might be some cuss words thrown out in that pod.
We might need the bleep button by that point, just to be prepared. I mean, with April 23rd is a Wednesday, so
we'd have to do it after.
But can Louis do it after? It's a Wednesday.
The 23rd is
Wednesday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. The 20th.
Yeah. We'll figure that out. No worries. We'll figure that out.
Like emergency pod.
I got an idea. How about we don't have to play Pachuca. Let's play Alajuelense. Alajuelense for the right to go to the Club World Cup. I'll bet they wouldn't like that very much.
No. We shouldn't have to. They don't have a right to go.
I know. I'm just saying, like, trial by combat, Game of Thrones style. Let's play them for it.
Arturo, it's some beep, but we'll see how it ends. I'm confident we'll be back in the tournament. Arturo Ruiz,
Friend of the show.
friend of the show, our
Arturo.
number one fan, always shows up. What else do we have?
So, in the worst case scenario, Louis, do you get a refund for tickets or no?
I would imagine Ticketmaster would have to refund me those tickets if the team that I bought them to see play is no longer part of the event. I would imagine there would be a refund process for that. But I don't want a refund. I don't want a refund.
No, I know.
I want the games to. I want the games to be played as scheduled. This is what I said. I did an interview yesterday for Tldp here in Guanajuato. I've been.
Is that out yet?
Imelda Solano was the person who interviewed me, was going to let me know when it was going to air. I'm not sure if it's aired yet. She hasn't said anything, so I'm thinking it hasn't aired yet. But I basically said in that interview that myself, I think I speak for all of us who are setting aside our plans and investing this sum of money into doing this. We're not worried about getting our money back. I mean, obviously we want to get our money back if it's not going to happen, but we're not thinking about that. We'd rather that our money continue to go into the investment that we've made to go do this thing. That is what we want. We're not concerned about the bucket, about the hotels and the Greyhound buses and the rental cars, whatever the flights. We're not concerned. I mean, that is not on our mind. If we were willing to spend that, we were willing to spend that. That whether the cup is played or not, that money wasn't coming back. What we want is for that money to still go toward this tournament, toward this experience. That is what we want. We're not concerned. The last thing we're concerned about is getting a refund. We don't want a refund. We want this money to continue to be an investment in seeing our team play in the Club World Cup. And that's basically what I said in the interview. Yeah, I've been, one of the side effects of all of this is many media outlets that I have experience with before, that have interviewed me before, I've been in contact with before, here in and around the León area, have been asking for my opinions. Julio Salcedo, friend of the show from Azteca, asked me for a short video. I think that did already air. I don't remember. Once I send it off into the wind, I'm not concerned about it anymore. So I never even see it. But I've given
links with us so we can repost
them
on Twitter.
Sorry, I should have. When I gave that video, it was still fresh in my head. I was still upset about the whole thing. I mean, I'm still upset about the whole thing, obviously, but it was fresh in my head, so I didn't think to share it with you guys. I should have. Sorry, but yeah, I've been asked to give a few statements, and that's basically the whole point of this. Is we want what is rightfully ours. We don't want to be refunded for not getting it. We want what is rightfully ours. That is the whole point of this. It's rightfully ours. No other team has a better argument to go to the Club World Cup out of CONCACAF that is not already in it, of course.
True. However,
then Club León has. Yeah.
I did hear that if we do get kicked out, we can at least appeal to get our money back for the investments that we've made. So, for example,
I was going to say, the jerseys too, the Club World Cup jerseys.
And you can also and you can also appeal to get money for actually making it to the tournament, like the money that's owed to the teams that make it to the tournament. So you can probably get maybe not all of it, but a sum of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you don't leave empty-handed.
Well, obviously that's a more considerable sum of money than the money that each individual person is going to spend to go to the Club World Cup as a fan. So yeah, that's a little bit, when we're talking about that amount of money, obviously, yes, it's important that we get that. That's my other thing with Alajuelense. My whole theory about them, they have no interest in winning a single match in the Club World Cup or even having a good showing. They just want the money that goes along with being in it, because every participating team is guaranteed at least $10 million. You know what $10 million means for a club like Alajuelense? Like that, I mean, they could make signings with that would guarantee them the next 10 league titles in Costa Rica. Like, that's what they want. They don't care about actually haciendo un buen papel in the Mundial de Clubes. They don't care about that. They just want the money. That's
Yeah.
what is so infuriating to me.
Yeah, and if they do make it in, like hypothetically, they're not getting out of that group stage at all. They're not that good of a team to get out of the group stage. They're
Yeah.
not going to beat Chelsea. They're not going to beat Flamengo. They're not. They might not even beat the other team. I don't even know. I don't even know what team that is, but they might not even beat them.
Yeah.
Esperance of Tunisia. Yes.
Yeah.
So mentally exhausting. Just like everything, like seeing if there's any updates and like ¿qué ha pasado? ¿Qué han dicho? Who said this? Who said that? The dates. It's just like now we have to wait like 3 weeks to see what happens. And it's
What's the worst take you guys have heard? The worst one. My favorite worst one is like, oh, just like everyone who's been like brewing up this like belief that America is going to sneak in there somehow, as if they deserve it.
Yeah, any one of those takes is up there, tops of the list of the worst.
One of the worst.
Also, but I mean, I don't think it's any worse. It's no worse. I mean, I think the worst are Alajuelense trying to cite all of the other things they've won that are not the Conca champions that somehow give them some sort of criteria to, like, we're bicampeones de Costa Rica. Who
cares?
No, that doesn't. Who cares? That means nothing.
It means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. Like,
okay, that one's probably over the America one.
Like, I think, like, if I was a fan of that, I would be embarrassed for my team to try and get into something with, like, no legitimate, like, wins or, it's just ridiculous. Like, I would be embarrassed as a fan of their team if my team was fighting for some stupidity that would, like, que nos hacen ver como X, like. No. I even blocked the lady. I think you responded to her, Louis, because I saw your response, and I blocked that lady because she kept showing up on my freaking Twitter of how, like, she's a for Alfalense or whatever. I think she was like a media reporter. I don't know what she is, but I blocked her because I was so fed up with seeing on my Twitter her like bashing Leon and like praising. I'm like. And I read Louis' response, and I liked Louis' response. And I'm like, I want to just block this woman because I don't want to keep seeing her on my Twitter.
Wow.
I responded to a few idiotic tweets, and I've responded to a bunch of the trash posts that come through my algorithm on Facebook. I've responded to a few. I just can't resist. I probably shouldn't even. I should probably just ignore it. But I mean, obviously, the stuff that comes my way on my social media feeds is obviously the stuff that's gonna really grind my gears so much that I have to respond to it because that's the way these algorithms work.
Yeah.
They're designed to piss you off so much that you just have to engage. And so, yeah, I mean, I've engaged with a few. I think I remember which tweet you're talking about.
It was a check.
That was
It was a check.
Yeah.
Yeah. I blocked her. I was tired of seeing her on my feed. But yeah, and I was thinking, I mean, what Carlos said about like todo lo que hemos invertido on like the jerseys. Like if I was Charlie, I would be pissed too. Like if my jersey.
Well, you saw the leak of the picture of the commemorative box.
The box
of the 2025 Club World Cup jersey that they already have made. They were just waiting to release it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the chaos.
So is it true that the jerseys are actually on their way to like production?
I thought they were already, no?
I mean, maybe I don't know if they've been I don't know if they've been mass produced.
Yeah,
I'm sure they probably have a display model or like a prototype model like already made, but I don't know if they've been mass produced. I hope we still get those. I hope they don't send those to Africa or whatever. Like I hope we get I hope we get those. Well, I say that because they obviously make the T-shirts and the hats for both teams in any final of any major league, and then the ones of the losing team, they send those to Africa and give them to needy children. So like I hope I at least get the opportunity to get my hands on one.
Yeah.
What a collector's item that would be.
I hope they still like release like worst case, like, but I hope they still release them. Just give them out cheaper. That way they know like the fans will buy one. You know what I mean?
We're-
Like
we might get two, right? Like the home and away this time.
Yeah. Well, apparently
There's
there
three
was
games.
yeah, well, there was a home and away for the 2023 Club World Cup too, but after we lost the first game, they didn't bother releasing it.
Yeah, the pink one, right?
I believe it was pink. Yes.
Yeah. It's
oh
a
yeah, they
pink one.
did say that some of the players' families had it or something like that.
Yeah.
Someone posted it somewhere. I can't remember, but I saw it. It was all right.
Yeah. So someone's in the chat.
That's my friend Diego. I gave him the link
Ah,
to come
okay.
and
Cause I was
watch.
like,
To come and watch.
let us know does he have beef with us? What did we say? Did we say something
Nah,
wrong?
he's a troll. He's a troll. He's trolling.
Let's see. Well, we went on 50 minutes talking about Leon and the whole Club World Cup. So, yeah. So Liga MX is back tomorrow. We're in second place, just a point behind America. Game against Pumas on Sunday should be an interesting game.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not the main topic at hand. We didn't really talk about that game. I mean, I mentioned it in the context of, we still have that game to play. We still have a league to win and to fight for. I don't know. Do we want to just give our predictions for that game? Because we keep forgetting to give our predictions for the games that we've played.
Yeah. Also, those tickets for that game are so expensive.
Well, they all are but that's a supply and demand thing because of all the abonos that are sold.
I know, but it's like 1,000 is the cheapest ticket. Like that's
Well,
ridiculous.
also, we don't want that. We don't want a house full of Pumas fans.
Well, maybe I'll go to the Leon Puebla one. Maybe those tickets will be cheaper then.
I know. Gotta just use your connections.
I don't know. Who do I know that can get me tickets to the Pumas game for free? That's my question.
Oh,
is it over
probably
there
not
or
the
here?
Pumas game.
Home or
Probably
away?
not the Pumas.
It's here. It's here. It's here.
Okay.
It's in Leon. Yeah, they're just the starting price is the cheapest is 1,000. It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
Yes, it is for
For
in
Liga
Mexico.
MX, yeah.
For Liga MX,
Well,
I
you're used
never
to-
paid 1,000 for a ticket in Santos. I never did.
They're
You're
like
used to
300,
it's because you're used to Tijuana prices, Carlos. Those are the most expensive in the league. No, seriously, Xolos, in spite of being an irrelevant
I
franchise,
thought
have the most
Pachuca was
expensive.
cheap. Oh, expensive.
No.
Sorry.
Most expensive.
Yeah,
Xolos
expensive.
have the most expensive tickets in the league, and the second most
It's
are
Chivas, no?
no. I would say Juarez, and the reason being those two clubs get a lot of fans from the other side of the border who are paying in dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, the few times I've been to Tijuana to watch Leon, like there's been many times where I've seen like literally a bunch of like white people crossing with me, and they have their shoulder jerseys on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how the existence of San Diego FC changes that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
We'll see how
But no,
loyal they
yes,
are.
I mean you get a lot of Xolos depends on a lot of fans from California who are paying in dollars, which is why their tickets are so expensive. Because it ain't because their team is any good, that's for sure.
No, but the atmosphere I think has grown there, so that's good. Just like in Necaxa, but
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, so let's do our predictions. Leon against Pumas. Where is Pumas on the table? Let's see.
I think they're
Pumas
not even
is
in
11th.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not even in the top 10.
No, they have 14 points. We have 26. Obviously, America and Tigres play each other, so maybe a draw would be great.
Well, if we win and America does not win, we will recover the super liderato.
Yeah.
Well, Pumas have not
But
been
a draw
good this season.
Well,
No, they
they
haven't.
went through a change, so now they have Frank Juarez so as a coach. So and I had a lot of injured players who are now coming back, so they could make a comeback. But they would have to have like perfect games. I feel like the next 5 games, 6 games.
Yeah, I just don't see them having a good roster, like a solid roster to make that type of run.
No,
I actually
I mean,
heard
they're
that.
pretty all right.
You sure? Really? I don't know. I haven't really paid too much attention to their roster. Literally, what I'm saying right now is like what they say on TUDN, like, este Puma no tiene plantel, no tiene.
Ignore
And
Tudene. Like, do not watch them. Like, they're the worst.
Yeah,
Like, I
especially
cannot
now.
stand them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot stand them.
Especially
Like,
now.
for Mexico games, like, I watch on TV Azteca, which I'm glad I'm able to do that here. But it's because it's just ridiculous. The ads, the comments, it's just
It is.
absurd. And obviously,
Yeah.
like, since we're doing well, no one talks about us. They talk about the negative stuff about us, which I think is ridiculous.
Well, and obviously, if you are to believe the conspiracy theories about outside factors of influencing FIFA's decision that have nothing to do with the multipropiedad, the biggest one is that Televisa really, really wants America in. So for that reason alone, let's not watch TUDN if we can possibly avoid it.
Well, maybe they should have
Yeah.
thrown some bills at FIFA and be like, "Okay, do we get an invitation as well?" And then that way they would just shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, predictions. Leon Pumas, Sunday, 7:00.
Yeah, I said we were going to make a statement in this game. I think we are. I think against all odds, oh no, they're going to be so rattled and affected by this. I don't get that impression. I think the break was going to be good. The guys, some of the guys going to play for their national team. Some of the guys getting some days at Disneyland or whatever. I think it was good. I think it was good for the team. I think they're going to come out and get their most convincing win of the season. I think it's going to be a 3-0. Leon beats Pumas 3-0. Let's say James gets a goal and an assist. Speed Mendoza adds to his impressive total, gets another goal, and Jonder gets a goal. Our big 3 weapons are each going to get on the score sheet 3-0.
Someone is suspended. I can't remember who.
Echeverria is suspended.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously Adonis is out injured. Freak injury during our friendlies.
Who did?
Adonis.
Oh, yeah. He's had a wobbly season with these injuries. Yeah, Carlos, what do you think?
Is it my
Your
turn?
fiction. Yeah.
I also think we make a nice we have a nice statement game. We're riding a 2-game losing streak. We still haven't won even in our friendly matches. So I think the guys are going to feel like we need to win. I think this team has the chance to turn it on, especially at being at home with all of our home fans. We're selling out crowds everywhere we go. I expect this weekend to be sold out. I hope, and I think
we'll
get out of there. I think we'll get out of there 2-0, 2-0, clean sheet, and we get 2 goals. Let's give Cadiz one, and maybe James scores another one.
2-0. Makes me sad because when I think about this Leon Pumas game, I instantly thought about the Leon Pumas game that I saw Javi in. And I remember we did our pregame video before, and then we met after, and he was a bit tipsy. But that was the crazy 3-3 game where we were down by 3 and we came back. So we were.
I remember you guys used my tickets because I couldn't go to that match. I was in. They changed the date. They put it one day earlier, and I was still in the U.S. I had plans that I couldn't get out of. Actually, I think it was because I went to Cascadia Cup Timber Sounders in Seattle that day, and Leon was supposed to be the next day. I was going to get back in time for it, and I didn't. I wasn't able to. So you guys used my tickets and you went to that game. I remember.
But yeah, I mean that was like crazy game, and I remember being with Javi and all that. So I don't think it will be that crazy of a game. I'm gonna say 2-1 that Leon wins. 2-1.
The good old fashioned 2-1.
2-1.
Almost.
I mean, I feel like
almost every single game has been 2-1. Leon, win or lose, almost every single game has been 2-1.
Yeah, I think. Se me fue lo que iba a decir. Ya se me fue. Can't remember. Okay, so Louis said 3-0, correct?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Carlos said 2-0, and then I said
Yeah.
2-1. So we'll see. The only reason I say 2-1 is because Leo Suarez is back. So maybe I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll score a golazo on someone. But that's the only reason why I said 2-1. But hoping we win. Obviously, they're encouraging everybody to wear green. And yeah, I think it will most likely be almost sold out. I looked at tickets, and yeah, the only available is on behind the goals at the very top. There's a couple of spotted ones. It's like one available in one section, one available over here. So I think it'll be a packed house. So should be fun for the fans going after all this Club World Cup chaos.
Yeah.
I think that's it, guys. Unless if you guys have anything else you want to say before we go.
I think we got it all out there.
Yeah, I think I'm all ranted out.
Yeah.
I feel like Louis been more relaxed. I mean, he was holding everything in at the beginning. You could tell his face and his tone. Now it's like all out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, Carlos, we had a very active chat tonight.
Yeah, shout out to everybody on the chat. Siniloli, what was it? MD? No.
MD?
MMA or MD? Let's see. MA.
MA, you're right.
Who else was in here? Todd, good friend of the podcast, Arturo Ruiz, and my boy Diego joined us. Nice.
Awesome,
Cool.
awesome. Well, guys, hope you guys enjoyed our rant, and hopefully we expressed what you guys were feeling. And only time will tell what happened. Obviously, with any updates, we'll keep you guys posted when we pod. And yeah, Liga MX is back. Leon's back this weekend, and hopefully we come back for it with a victory. So thank you guys so much for joining us in this episode. Thank you again, everybody who is listening to us. But yeah, so don't forget to follow us on all socials, and we'll see you back on another episode of the Lions and Podcast.